Hello, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day it is. This is Beverly Fells Jones, the Silver Fox of Consciousness, and I want to thank you for watching my video today. Today I am talking about the ginger balsamic vinegar lemonade. And some of you are going, ew, that can't possibly be good. Well, initially I thought that too, until I had the opportunity while visiting in Austin to visit the Texas Olive Ranch. I had no idea that olives grew in Texas. It just never crossed my mind. And so I got to go there and got a tour inside. Now, this was wintertime. This was in December. And I wasn't going outside. But they are an award-winning, as you can see, olive, what I want to call it, vineyard? Not vineyard, but an olive, I don't know. Grove. Yes, like oranges. They're an olive grove. Anyway, I got the opportunity to be there and take that tour. And while I was there, they gave me some balsamic lemonade. Oh, this stuff was so good, but the problem was it was too sweet. And so I made a suggestion. I said, okay, this is some really sweet lemonade, but they normally put it over a whole ton of ice, and she just gave me a little taste of it. And while I was tasting it, I said to her, I said, oh, this would be awesome as a hot lemonade. And she said, I never thought of that. I said, it's wintertime, it's cold. I said, this would make a really hot lemonade. And said, but thin out the sugar a little bit because it's way too sweet. But yes, it was designed to go over ice. And so the ice would melt and it would, thin it out a little bit. So I enjoyed that taste of theirs. And so when I got back to the condo, I realized that I had a bottle of balsamic vinegar in my stash. You know, that box, that stash that I have. And so I said, why not? Let me make my own. But I always add a little kick because I love ginger, and ginger is good for my blood pressure. It's good for the digestion. It's good for a lot of things. And so I said, well, those of you who have been listening to my recipes long enough know that I'm in the process of making up my own recipes, right? Okay, so this is my made up recipe for balsamic, lemonade with ginger. Okay, and limes and lemons. So let's get with it. So I sliced up a couple of inches of ginger. Now I peeled it, as you can see, I peeled it, and then I chopped it as thin as possible while I was in the condo. Put it in a pot of distilled water. I always carry distilled or bottled water with me, and I had distilled water. So it was about a quart, 2 quarts, half a gallon of distilled water in there. And then I took and sliced up some of the lemons and limes that I brought with me and put them in the pot. Now, here's what I would change about this whole thing is that I did not peel the lemons or the limes. So I would peel, number one, I would peel the zest off and put that in the water. And then I would take the pulp and put that in the water. But the pith, that white stuff between the zest and the pulp, I would make sure was not in the water because it adds a bitterness to the water that you do not, let me say that again, you do not want. Now, it was okay. This was an experiment. So, and I had, what's it look like? I probably had like 5 lemons and limes that I put in there. I didn't count them right now. Now you might want to, stop the video and count how many I have in the pot. But for those of you who don't have the fresh ones, you can always use bottled lemonade, bottled limeade. You can just use lemons or just use limes. That's up to you. But at this time, I was working with what I had, so I had those two. I brought the water to a boil and allowed it to simmer for about 5 minutes. Then I added 1 cup of sugar. Now, I didn't want it as sweet as the ones that I had at the Texas Olive Grove, but I wanted it sweet enough for me to be able to enjoy it. So I added about a cup of sugar and stirred it until it dissolved. Then I let that cool off and I strained all the items out, the ginger and the lemon and lime, strained them out into a pitcher. And then I added about a quarter of a cup of apple balsamic vinegar. Now, this apple balsamic vinegar I got while I was in California. You know, that California trip where I didn't record or video anything once I got to California. Me and videoing, sometimes it just doesn't happen. Anyway, so I took the time and I bought this balsamic vinegar. We were at TJ Maxx or Ross. I think it was TJ Maxx. And you know, for those of you who shop at TJ Maxx, oh my goodness, you can get some good things there. And so I wound up, I didn't have, well, I just said, I don't need that many. I kind of forgot I was driving because most of the time I'm flying. So I went, okay, can I pack 2 bottles? And so I wound up just buying 2 bottles of this discounted apple balsamic vinegar. Now, if you want to know where you can buy the balsamic vinegar on your own, you might be able to find it at a TJ Maxx, but I doubt it. What you want to do is you want to go to one of the oil and vinegar stores. In fact, if you search and look for oil and vinegar, shop, VOMFAS, VOMFASS, shops, you can find all kinds of flavored vinegar, balsamic vinegar. I have gotten not only apple, but pear, and what else did I get? Peach, pomegranate. So it depends on which one of these specialty shops you go to that you'll be able to find that particular balsamic vinegar. Otherwise, just use plain old everyday balsamic vinegar, not flavored. I just decided to use flavored. And they use flavored. They did Texas Olive Ranch. They use pear and pineapple. They did 2 of them. But I just had apple, so I used it. It all depends on your taste. Remember that. It depends on your taste. It depends on your taste. It depends on your taste. Just like I've said in other of my cooking videos, you've got to take the flavor that you want. You've got to season to what you desire. Just like I said, I use lemon and lime in this, but you might not like limes, or you might not like lemons. Or you might not like ginger. You don't have to use ginger. But this is something that you can try and say, do I like it or not? So you can just make a quart, right? Use half as much ginger. Use only maybe a quarter cup of lemon juice. Now you'll need a little bit more for a quart. No, a quarter cup of lemon juice would be right. And then a half cup of sugar and add some balsamic vinegar, not apple cider vinegar, not regular vinegar. It has to be balsamic vinegar. That's the one thing that it has to be. Anyway, I've talked enough, but I want you to know I enjoyed that drink, and I had it that same night when I did the tomato zucchini soup, which has been uploaded. I'll see if I can find the link and put it in the description below to let you see that. So I had the tomato zucchini soup that I made up, and then this balsamic drink with my meal, and it was absolutely wonderful. Anyway, I've talked enough. I already said that, didn't I? Okay. So, this is Beverly Fells Jones, the Silver Fox of Consciousness. And if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please, please, please give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and hit the little bell, because I just want you to listen to all this nonsense. No, not nonsense, but the things that I want to share with you. And if you don't subscribe and if you don't hit the bell, you won't know when I'm putting up a new video. And I've got some different kind of videos coming in the future. Because I'm going to talk about some of the thought leaders that I really love. For those of you who know, I really do talk about the way you think makes a difference in your life. And if I didn't think the way I think now, let me tell you, I would not be doing the things I do. I wouldn't be happy. I wouldn't be in this wonderful state that I am. And I truly believe I'm in a state of abundance. But you all can make that decision as you continue to watch my videos. So until the next time.